wherever and whenever you are, and welcome back to the Underdark, down in the depths beneath the lands of Faerun, in the dark, dripping caverns and passageways, be they natural, tunneled out by strange beasts or otherwise, as we return to our new campaign, Out of the Abyss. And a big hi hello to my lovely players. How's everyone doing? All good?
Good.
Excellent. Feeling flushed with success, if slightly beaten and bruised after last week? Let's get back to that in a second here. Right, okay. So, big hello to Action Pap over there in chat. How you doing? And hello to everyone joining us over on Carney Sideshow as well. Thanks for dropping by. As always, let me give a lovely shout out to the VOD squad, all of those that catch up with our stories after we've been streaming live. We love to have you along for the ride with us whenever you get the chance. Thank you so much. And a big shout out to Syrinscape for the music and sound effects that we'll be using today, with extra music coming from Dark Fantasy Studio, and over on YouTube, the channels RPG Music Maker by Travis Savoy and Epic Journey. And finally, over on Patreon, Will Savino. Quite a few pieces from him today, so give that a listen if you fancy having some cool music in your TTRPG games as well. We've lost Stephen. Not like this, Stephen. Not like this. Are you still there? At least it hasn't, shifted us all around. Like how sometimes you just everyone gets shunted around if someone's camera goes off. He's just being mysterious. He's behind the mask. Who is this masked mysterious figure? we still hear you. Okay, that's the start. Down into the I don't know. Hopefully not into the abyss. That's a whole different kettle of trouble. Okay, so let us catch up on what was happening last time on our first full session of this new campaign. Having found yourselves captured in various parts of the upper layers of the Underdark, then transported here to the outpost of Velkinvelv, on your way to slavery in the Drow capital Menzoberranzan, you got to know your fellow prisoners. Those of us that we can see today here: Zakan, the Aasimar Ranger; Ignatius, the Minotaur Barbarian; Ning, the Satyr Cleric; and last but definitely not least, Elora, the High Elf Rogue. And another lovely shout out to the wonderful Ryutoshi for this amazing art that was done for us. Check them out on Instagram, because it's lovely. Over on Carney Sideshow, check them out over on YouTube as well. I saw you, because I'm subscribed to you, so it was so weird to just go to my channel's feed, all my subscribed channel's videos, and then just see that art piece come up as a thumbnail in all the other videos. It's like, I know those people, I know those characters.
Yeah, it must be weird to see it from a different view too, right?
And if your eyesight's very good, I think over Sam's shoulder you can see them as well. Right over there.
Yeah.
It's a bit far away to make out, but they are over there.
Are they framed?
Yeah, framed and on display.
Oh, that's cool. Hey.
Looks so good.
Very good eyesight.
Yeah.
I've seen a close-up of that same scene, so I know where they are.
Take a picture, yeah.
So yes, I did not make that out from that image there. Anyway, sorry. Yes. Having met these fellow prisoners of yours, along with others, a cross-section of the Underdark's peoples, you started to plot your escape, wanting to take advantage of the mysterious loss of contact with the capital city, leading to this high number of captives being held together, not the normal state of affairs. Deciding that a distraction might provide an opportunity, it was an easy task to provoke the orc bully Ront into violence. His scuffle with Ignatius did draw the attention of the guards, but with the unfortunate dealing out of punishment when the orc, more trouble than his worth, was thrown from the outpost's ledge to be captured and devoured by the giant spiders in the webs below. But the opportunity was not squandered, as Sverfneblin Jimjar and our Asamar Zakan here provided the opportunity for Elora's nimble fingers to swipe herself a set of keys from a distracted jailer. We find ourselves, Zakan, nursing the bruises received for daring to use magic, Ignatius rubbing his jaw where the orc had clocked him one good and proper, and everyone else, a mixture of relief that the violent, unpredictable orc is gone, and yet horror at what you were just forced to witness. So, dear players, what do you do? Now, one thing that I didn't actually say out loud and make completely clear, one of the best things about our little friend Stool, the little myconid sprout, the best thing about his communication, the rapport spores that he can release and give everyone the ability to communicate together, that communication is telepathic. So this isn't like a Babelfish, Hitchhiker's Guide thing. You can all just be collapsed against the sides of the cavern, looking exhausted from your hard days forced labor, and actually be having an animated conversation in your minds, without the guards being any the wiser. So yes, a very, very useful little fella to have scuttling about the place, and good for sitting on as well, as Ning found out.
I didn't sit on him.
Do no sit.
No,
He's a child.
I'm not gonna sit on him. I just wanted to pet him.
Okay, so what are you saying to each other through this rapport spore telepathic connection that you share?
Ooh.
So did it work?
Zakan notices it pretty quickly. Yeah.
Was all that trouble we went through worth it?
I believe
I have the
one
keys.
was able to grab something.
I have them right here in my pocket.
Eldeth.
However,
Sorry, please. After you.
I was gonna say, I fear it's only a matter of time before they realize that keys are missing.
So what's next?
I mean, there's not much left to do. We have to was it nighttime when we went outside, or was it?
It was towards the end of the day because it was after all of your
It was the end
shifts
of-
had finished. Yeah,
So it was the end of the day. So
it is.
nighttime seems like to be in the corner, around the corner. Maybe we should try this tonight, if before they
They're
figure
like,
out that you got the keys.
Is there like a changing of the guard that Zakan has noticed over time, or like when they go to bring us meals, is like the very exterior of our cell when it's not watched?
I mean, those are both things that happen, but I mean they're pretty. This is their main purpose of being here is to traffic you guys through to the main city. So they are very careful with their merchandise, and they are watching you. And they're careful as the changeover of guard happens that there's no overlap or problem that could occur with the prisoners. Especially when I think they might even be on higher alert after the trouble that was caused today. Eldith, the shield dwarf scout that's friends with Ning, she speaks up and she says, maybe, and she glances at Zakarn and Ignatius, maybe we should be fully rested before we try anything?
Sounds like a good idea. I just getting here recently myself. Can any of you tell me anything that you've noticed? Any other ways out? Any rotation of the guards?
Those overlooking the watchtowers, although outside of our cell is quite closely observed, the watchtowers are far less so. There is not much that comes through this area, and I believe that if we are able to escape from here and out into the yard, we should be able to avoid them a little easier. Really, if we can wait until they are just at the end of their watch before being refreshed, they will be at their most exhausted.
So just before the start of the day for them, or whatever they call it.
I believe that
And in that
may
case,
be the best time
maybe
to
I'll
make
get
our
some rest.
move.
Okay. In that case, I guess Ignatius will start resting to get ready for whenever we move.
Okay. The rest of you, anything
Khan turns
before you take
towards,
your rest?
Stool, and
Hey.
he asks Stella telepathically, and he says, "This effect of communication that you have granted us,
Yeah.
it's temporary."
Yes. But I mean, I can do it. Actually, how often can you do it? Good question. Good question. Let me just double check. Is that fellow prisoners? Stu, Myconid. Oop. He can do it 3 times a day, and it lasts for an hour.
Okay.
So this will be the second time he's done it today, because that last one, when you were first talking, last week, that was one time, and that would have expired by now.
Okay. All right. Should we?
We will
I mean,
for an opportunity, and
should we still have like some people, kind of like taking turns and stay awake, and we take turns to sleep. If somebody sees like a good opportunity, if we all sleep at the same time, we might just sleep through the night and just like keep sleeping, and So maybe we can take turns to do that. What do you all think? We're enough to take an hour or two each, so we can all have a good rest before we try anything.
I believe that is a good suggestion, yes.
I can start. I'm fine, so I can like be the one awake first, and then like after you can all sleep, and then we can take turns. I'm fine with that.
As you're having this discussion, you hear a voice on the call that you haven't heard before, but it has a Menzoberranzan accent. And what of me? Am I to be included in your little escapade, or will you leave me here to languish? And you look over, and there's the drow male who has not made contact with anyone before, slumped as usual in the back of the cave when he's not working.
What reason is it that you are imprisoned?
I have been accused of murder. Murder of one of my fellow drow warriors, but the problem is I was beset by a fit of madness, and I do not recall what happened. I do not know if what they say is true. I feel, as is often the way in our city, this is just an elaborate setup to discredit me and destroy my reputation. But there are times when I do not recall what happened. But would you leave me here to die? And Ning, you remember an episode from your time in the Underdark before you were captured, when you helped someone very much like this. You
Was it
remember?
him?
It wasn't. It's not
Yeah,
him,
yeah,
no, but a very
oh.
similar situation.
I remember. I mean, my head. I remember I helped somebody actually. He was in the same situation. He has been accused of a crime, and he told me he didn't commit it, and then I helped him escape. Maybe he's telling the truth. Sarith is his name.
It's just
This is
watching
Sarith,
with
yes.
like his.
Yes, Steven?
Does Zakan believe him?
Give me an insight check.
What he's saying, and particularly in he seemed to just want to get out of here, or going to immediately turn us in. Perhaps I will not know either way. That's 12.
He seems perfectly legit and being honest.
Before you were accused, what was your reputation?
I was a warrior, serving the matron mothers of my house in Menzoberranzan. Of some renown, if not great. I did not want to rise too high, lest I suffer a similar fate to poor old Jorlan here. And do you remember last time you heard Jorlan is that drow elite guard with all the acid burns down his face? Which, Zakan, you would have been very clear from the look of that. It looks like he had a nasty run-in with a black pudding. Those particularly nasty acidic oozes. That's
Really encyclopedic knowledge of gruesome injuries.
Yes, they schlep around the Underdark from time to time. You want to avoid those as much as possible. And you remember hearing last time that this elite guard, Jorlan, was the consort of Mistress Ilvara, the leader of this outpost, until he suffered this injury. And then he was replaced by Shore, another of the elite guards. And cast aside, kept around and brought back to health, but not looked after particularly, and just completely disgraced from his position. And your drow friend here, Sarith, says, yes, much has happened here. With poor Jorlan, I was cast aside, as is done so easily. Would that I had met you, Nink. Maybe you could have helped me escape too.
Well, I do think about something though. Is like you said that you don't remember when you kill the other person, the poor fellow. But what if you suddenly want to kill us when we're escaping? What if you suddenly kind of mad again, or crazy?
Why? Why would I do that?
Well, you don't really remember when it happened, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, let me show you this fella as we're talking to him here. Oop. Hello. Sarith. Skarit.
You?
I think. Drow names.
Yeah.
At least this one hasn't got the dreaded apostrophe like Zakan. Okay, so
As Ning's act has demonstrated, in the Underdark there are often quick and unlikely allies in the arena of survival. If you would make your escape attempt with us and not hinder us, then welcome to lend your skills. Do you know about these sorts of camps? I am only familiar with observation, but if you have any first-hand knowledge.
Of course. I have traveled these parts quite regularly.
Your opinion of when we should make our escape, then?
As I mentioned before, no group of drow is without their political drama. If there is some way to gain leverage from that, I would seek assistance from within the enclave here. There will be a great deal of warriors out there, along with a great deal of Quaggoth. And he looks over at Prince Durandil, who's hovering protectively around Ilora, annoyingly.
I mean, I'm okay as long as you don't kill us.
If you would see fit, my lady, to once more assist one of our kind, I would be forever in your debt.
Help anybody. I'm fine with helping everybody. Just don't hurt anybody else.
Of course. I wouldn't
If you
dream
are
of
so
it.
eager, you can assist Ning here on first watch.
Sorry, say that again, Zakon?
If you are so eager and cooperative, you can assist Ning here on first watch.
Indeed. Will any of you join me?
Well, I'm on first watch.
Then let us look after your friends, as hopefully you can look after me.
Okay.
Observe two at a time, and should you see a moment when is unwatched, then alert the rest of us and we will make our escape.
Indeed. Who should we wake?
For the next watch? Maybe...
Quick DM question, how many shifts would we be doing? Is it like 2 or 3? Or?
A long rest, it would be like 8 hours, during which you need to sleep for 6, or rest up properly for 6. So the, you need four shifts. So one of you with an NPC.
Something like that.
Indeed, yep.
Do I trans
I can
for
get an
4
assist.
or
Is it just 4 hours?
I'm not sure. Maybe I have to look it up.
Double check. Yeah, look, if you look at your features and traits and go down to racial features.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it might be shorter actually. Ilora illustris. D&D.
For meditate semi-consciously for 4 hours a day.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so you don't need as much as the others.
Hey, shit. I totally forgot. I think I can rest and stay alert.
Really? I don't know. I haven't heard anything from my. I have fallen SMR in my other groups.
Oh, it's
Poppy
you
needs his
remain
beauty
alert to
rest, right?
danger even when engaged in another activity, but probably not rest.
Not resting. No, not when you're full asleep. Yeah, it just means that you harder to surprise.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Poppy's he's already out, but he wouldn't mind waking up to do a watch. He's just,
Yeah, totally.
I mean, he just got here, so he's dead.
Gotcha. Which
God sleeps in like microcycles.
yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. You and Sareth sit across opposite sides of the gate, just keeping an eye out. And sorry, I misspoke last week. The guards who are watching this the prisoner pen here, they are not directly outside the gate. They are across the way in the large hanging stalactite. So this base, this outpost, just to reiterate from last time, there are 4 very large stalactites coming down from the ceiling, big pillars of rock that have been hollowed out and are being used for chambers. 2 of them for the elite guards, 1 of them as the watch post, and something else. There's 2 floors in this one, but you're not sure what's above the watch post, where the guards watch over you from across the Spider Silk Bridge, and the last one, the largest one, which is reserved for the mistress and the sub-priestess, and her boy toy. Sure, at the moment.
So you mean if we're talking, nobody can listen? Nobody's really listening to us.
They're a fair distance away. So if you're just whispering, you should be fine.
Okay.
So even if Stool's spores cease to function, language could be a problem at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
What does he speak?
Elvish and Undercommon?
Oh, I speak Undercommon.
Okay, there you go.
I can speak with him.
Yes. So you.
Alright, so everybody's asleep.
I wish my French was good enough so we could just talk back and forth in French. But
Oui, on peut
unfortunately,
parler.
yes,
Alors, c'est parti.
je parle un peu de français.
So.
Everyone else is resting until.
Yes. Yeah. So a couple of hours here. Who should they wake?
Who wants to be awake? I don't want to impose it on anybody.
You can wake me up if you want.
Okay, and another NPC, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe the twins. There.
The twins? Oh.
The first Neblin twins.
Each person's assigned NPC.
Yeah.
One hanging off each horn.
Yeah.
No, that would be a Stool if he had arms. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He's the only little kid. But yes, we shall get to that when we get to it. So
Okay.
Ning, is there anything you're talking about with Seraph
Well,
here
I
before?
was going to ask you. So you're saying you don't remember? Just do you have any kind of like images sometimes coming back to you of what happened, or it's really like a blackout?
No, I do not. It is a complete blank for me. So
you mean that there's one moment in your life that you cannot remember at all? Like,
it is the strangest thing.
it must feel weird.
Yes.
Must makes you feel vulnerable.
It is an unsettling state of affairs to have a section of oneself that is hidden away, even from your own mind.
Mm. Do you know if anybody could help you to regain that memory outside? Maybe somebody has such a...
I do not
That
know.
kind of-
I have no access to such things. Maybe
Well,
some of the priestesses of Loth in the Great Church back
Mm.
in Menzoberranzan, but they would not deem themselves, they wouldn't stoop so low to help an accused murder. Only a sacrificial killing awaits for me back there.
So there is no forgiveness in here?
He kind of stifles that as like the people across the way in the outpost look over. It's like, stop that! No being happy. We'll have no laughter here. And he kind of nods in apology. No, little Nink. I know you have not been down here too long, but there is not much in the way of forgiveness in the Underdark. It is, as they say, a most unforgiving place. Although I don't think that's what they meant.
Then I can tell you, you're very lucky today, because I'm gonna walk you on the path of forgiveness once we're out there.
Out there?
I mean, out of this prison. Well, you said you would help us.
He kind of has a kind of wry smile. He's like, to my redemption.
To your redemption.
And you continue watching. And you can see across the way, within the stalactites, through the windows that are open in the side, watching this side, you can see the guards moving around. There's a couple of drow and one of the elite warriors, and they frequently cast a look over, make sure nothing's changed. And 2 hours go by, and nothing happens. Ignatius, as you were the first to plunge into a deep sleep, previous to today's session, I asked you to think of a dream that you may have. What do you dream of as you slumber here in the prison pen?
Having been like the first time I've actually had a rest, although I'm still uneasy, but having this little bit of respite, Ignatius immediately starts just to think about the wilds again, being back in the open air among the trees with his friends and soldiers. Just the good old days before it got too crazy.
Yeah. So you think back on those times in the Feywilds, up on the material plane, having gone through the Fey Crossing to guard it against any potential attackers. Your squad? Battalion? You had quite a lot under your control,
regiment.
right? Mhm.
Regiment, yeah.
Okay. Are they mostly Minotaurs or a mix of races?
Mostly elves, actually. I'm the only Minotaur in there. Most
Okay.
of the Minotaurs will stay back in the city, but I felt like I had to do something different.
Yeah.
There's not many of us anyways.
True. So yes, you dream of you and your Eladrin and Elven compatriots flitting through the forests of the Feywilds in those wild places, facing wild foes as well, but inevitably vanquishing them and dealing with all of the problems that your city was faced with. And you think back somewhat cathartically on all of those run-ins that you had with Drow as well, and how you and your soldiers were able to deal with them and subdue them so readily, which is what led to your reputation and them wanting to lead an expedition against you and capture you and take you out of the picture. And as nice as these memories are, these heroic recollections of these past endeavors, you can't be helped but have a slight tinge of concern that what could have happened to your city, what could have happened to your fellow warriors now that you and your unit are lost and the borders are left less guarded than they used to be. Now, after 2 hours have passed, Ning, you and Sarith wake up the next people, which shall be punch Ignatius awake.
What?
Did you sleep enough? It's your
I mean,
turn.
it's been like two hours? Two-ish?
Well, it's your turn.
Doesn't feel like I slept 8 hours.
It feels like you slept. You look radiant. It's okay. It's your turn now.
Are we doing watch?
Yes. Oh, sorry, you fell asleep. Yeah, we are.
Okay. Who's my partner?
You can choose. Just wake them up gently, like I did.
I do
mean-
believe I saw you punch him.
I don't know anybody. Any recommendations?
Well, do you want like somebody who's like quiet or kind of like chatty? Depends.
Quiet.
Oh, then not the twins in that case.
You would think
Well-
Bupido would probably be best.
Bibiko? Who?
Libido?
Bupido, the Svirfneblin, yeah, quiet guy. He's
Bupido.
well spoken. Yes,
Libido.
Bupido.
Okay.
he's talkative for. Oh no, sorry, he's not the Svirfneblin. He's the Darrow, isn't he?
Oh, the-
yeah, the
yeah.
Darrow. He's talkative for a Darrow, but he's not as chatty as the twins or Jimja.
So Bupido, I think. Him,
Bupido. Ah.
the one who has like the mustache.
Yes, here you go.
Okay, sure.
Just
Bupido.
wake him gently.
So I'll walk over to him and shake him gently.
Okay. He's like, what is it?
Apparently you're on watch with me.
As you wish. And steps up. Comes over and kind of side-eyeing you as he walks over quite a bit nervously. And you plonk yourselves down next to the gates, and Sareth and Ning, you head off to sleep. Now,
Sleep next to my friend.
over Eldith. Okay. Just quite the fight you put up earlier. You trained man?
Sorry.
Are you trained?
Yes and no. I have my own style, I guess you could say.
Wish I had a pair of horns like that. Looks quite the tool for eviscerating one's foes.
Yes, but sometimes that's all people expect of you.
Oh. Are there layers?
Let's just say it's good to be around people that don't have prior expectations.
Well, let me just say I look forward to peeling back those layers.
And yourself? Do you have layers?
Of course. People often underestimate my people. We are just the underclass, the trash of any place that we settle. But wherever you end up, if we escape from here, you watch out for the Darrow, friend. There is a lot going on with us. And you can be sure that any group of Darrow, wherever you find yourselves, will be up to something.
So, we shouldn't trust them, is what you're saying?
No. Who said they were up to bad things? They may be allies, such as I, to you all.
Good to know.
And again, you watch, and I think towards the end of your watch, you do see a change of the guard. And you see, this time, the elite warrior is replaced by Jolan, the spurned lover with the acid scars down the side. And as he comes over, you see his replacement, Shore, come out of the main stalactite, looking a little tipsy. His clothes slightly disheveled. Maybe Mistress Silar was enjoying herself. He kind of like comes across and he kind of staggers across the rope bridge to the watch post across from the gate. And he's like, you, Jolan, come here. And because he's the favorite of the mistress, you know, the others have to be subservient to him, even the ones who are elite. You've noticed in your short time here the regular drow always defer to the elites, and then the elites defer to the females. And drow is a matriarchal society, and this Shore is clearly the favored one. You see, he's carrying some kind of item, some kind of whip or some kind of wand kind of thing on his side. It's like hanging loosely off his belt. And you see Jolan's eyes flit to it. And Shore just laughs. He's like, no, this is mine now. You are disgraced. Such as your face is a disgrace. You have no more place in the mistress's heart. Or her bed. Aye. Take some water over to them. We don't want any more dying before the morning. And Jolan kind of curls a lip, but doesn't say anything. As Shore kind of goes sauntering, cockily back over towards the priestess's tower. And you see Jolan turn around to the other drow, the junior drow, and he's like, "So, what are you waiting for? Draw some water." And they quickly get their simple earthenware cups that they use to give water to you, and they bring them onto a tray, and he has to deliver it. He was told to do it, so he has to do that. So he picks it up, and he makes his way very nimbly, despite his injuries, across the swinging spider silk bridge, which you've all learnt. Even just when you arrived and were being dragged through the camp, you've all learnt these are very difficult for you to traverse. They're very easy to start swinging side to side, and they count as difficult terrain for you guys, but none of the drow have any problems with them. And he comes swinging over, just rocking with the movement, keeping the tray balanced. And he comes over to the gate. And he starts handing water through. He sees that you two are awake. He's like, "You two, take this water. Make sure the others drink when they wake up. Now."
Okay, I'll stand up and immediately take it, and then take it directly to Zakan to tell him. Kind of, I don't know if he's awake or kind of awake.
Not at the moment, no. So I would wait until he's up and about. But you start taking them from Jolan and through the gate.
I'll take the first person I give it to will be Zakan, kind of like shake him like something's happening. I'm assuming they spoke Undercommon, and I don't speak Undercommon, so.
The drow.
Yeah.
Yes, but Bupido was telling you what was being said.
Oh, okay. But I'll still take.
And Bupido's like, don't wake him up yet. He needs his rest. He got the shit kicked out of him.
Okay. If you think that's best, it's not the time to move. Then.
And Jolan's waiting with the next cup. He's like, just keep them here until they wake up. Here, take this next one. You walk over to grab the next cup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you take it from him and you put it down on the ground. You go back up to grab the next one, and you see he's not holding a cup in his hand. And he reaches through the bar quickly and grabs your forearm and pulls you close to the gate. He's like, in common, heavily accented, but if I could give you a means to escape from here, would you take it?
You know I would. Though, any means coming from your person might be suspect.
I'm sure you have heard what happened to me. And he kind of puts his free hand up to his face just as an instinctive kind of reaction, touching the scars and the acid burns. I was cast aside. And I would have the mistress and her new lover suffer a great embarrassment. Will you take it? Will you accept
Can I
my
roll a
aid?
quick insight check?
Please.
It's only an 8, so.
Seems very fervent, and he's looking furtively around, making sure the drow in the tower aren't watching. So he seems legit, definitely, but you can't quite tell really with that roll.
Suspicious, but yes, I'll take any chance I can get.
Look. At some point, when the guard is changing, I will leave the gate unlocked, and I will delay the arrival of the next guards. Over there in the guard tower, the second floor, above the watchroom, it is the armory. There is equipment there, and all of your things that were confiscated. From there, go quickly to the waterfall. Jump for it. The pool is deep. You will not be injured.
When is this next change of the guard? How many hours do I have to prepare?
I cannot orchestrate this, and I think your friends should be fully rested. Let us do this tomorrow. Next time you see me on shift, the end of that shift will be the time.
Okay.
Don't spill it, you buffoon! He says loud enough for the others to hear, and passes you the last cup and walks away. Stupid slaves! And the guy in the watchtower, they're like,
Alright. Was Bupito listening to this as well?
yeah. And he looks up, he's like, oh, now we got a plan A and a plan B.
What do you think about this?
I was witness to his fall from grace. He was in the lap of luxury, or the lap of the mistress, and he has a great deal of anger, that one. Anger can be very useful.
Indeed. Okay.
And the rest of your shift goes by without any further incidents. Elora, as you dream, what do you dream of?
So Laura is having a nightmare, so it's
no.
not a happy dream. She's not been in a good mood, of course, ever since she entered the prison. So she is remembering a very scary time in her life when things started to change. She is in the dark woods, and she is stalking her father. Actually, she sees her father meeting up with a group of people as she hides behind the trees and listens to this group of elves, all cloaked and hidden, kind of talking to each other and murmuring. She can't really hear well what they're saying, so she attempts to get closer.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them looks her way, and she feels her heart beating out of her chest, but they didn't capture her, they didn't see her, so she was able to escape. So most of the dream is her then retreating through the woods.
Okay. So yeah, I think, was this maybe the first time you kind of realized how stealthy you could be, and yeah, you had this ability to keep hidden and
Mhm.
observe things that should maybe be secrets.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
what was Daddy up to? Curious. Okay.
It's a mystery.
Yeah. For chat, I do not know either. It's not in the backstory anyway.
Oh, sorry. Not the specific moment, yeah.
Curious. Yes. So it's one thing, and everyone, Elora, our player Elora here is new to D&D. This is one of the lovely things about D&D. We are telling this story together. They are not playing through my story or the published story. And even if some of you have played Out of the Abyss, there are likely to be some significant differences. Okay? Thank you. Ignatius, who do you wake next?
So, seeing that Alora is kind of meditating, I guess it's been about 4 hours at this point anyway, right?
Yes, spending a lot of time with elves as you had before, you would know that she would be fully rested by now.
Sure. In that case, I'll go to her next.
Okie doke.
Yeah, my eyes lightly open. Yeah, I was just about to get up on my own.
Sure, well then, your turn.
Yeah.
Who do you wake?
Well, I'm going to stay clear of Zarindil, and I'm going to make sure. very slowly
I'm
past
half
him.
tempted. I'm half tempted to roll a perception check and see if he realizes you've woken up.
No. I tried to be very stealthy, walking past him, and
No, he's
kind of,
he's a prince and needs his beauty sleep.
yeah. I think I'm gonna wake up Jim Jar.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. So, Jim Jar. Sorry, I hadn't shown you this one either, had I? Excuse me. Oop. Jim Jar is this character here, and he is. Let's get this. Business. Yes, he is the Sverfniblin with the gambling problem. The one who dared you or bet you that you couldn't grab those keys.
Oh yeah.
So you wake him up and he's like, "Yeah, what is it? Oh,
It's our
I'll
turn.
yeah,
It's our turn. It's our turn.
yeah. All right, I got you. Give me a sec."
Okay.
And he he scrambles up off the floor and comes like pattering over with you. Well then, I owe you 5 gold.
No, you took a bet, but you actually helped me. Why would you go against yourself? I can't imagine why. Can't imagine why you would
No.
help me out.
What's the fun in betting if there's no chance of losing?
Yeah.
You won fair and square, and I ain't got it now. But once I get my hands on it, it's yours.
Well, I appreciate your help.
Yeah, it's
by
all
the
right.
way, taking advantage of that moment.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And
I
he
took
says,
some courage, I'm sure.
he says, just as a manner of speech, I bet we can't do it again. They'll be
Oh yeah.
they'll be on their guard now.
Yeah. And we wouldn't want to lose another one of us.
So, there's plenty of your cousins, the drow down here. That's what did in my my fair city. It was the drow that, well, genocide's the word for it. But those of us that were lucky, those gambling types like me, we got away. I lived up on the surface for a bit. Met a few high elves. Couldn't really stand talking to them like I can you.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah. And you, I liked you. So, why did you leave home? I mean, there's plenty of folks can't stand their parents and they still live with them.
It's complicated. I feel like I can't even believe we're related at times. We're completely different species in my own eyes. I don't even feel like a high elf most
Wow.
days.
How do you present then? Are you a drow or a ladrin? Do you try and dye your hair different colors with the seasons?
No, I haven't gotten that far. I just try to hide my elfishness by the company that I keep.
That's nothing to be ashamed of, especially if you're comporting yourself as you do. Yeah, Barry. Nah, it's like I don't know. It's like you just gotta be yourself, and don't go around saying I'm a high elf or I'm not a high elf. Just go around saying I'm a Laura, like I'm Jimjar.
True. Make
Yeah.
good point.
I mean, I got used to saying that. I used to go to these meetings, but then I realised that making bets and gambling was too fun. I didn't want to get better.
Can't give it up, huh?
They always started with my name's Jimjar. I've had a problem for quite some time, and it's more fun this way.
Well, how did you end up in here?
Quick step out of character. If you do have a problem, do seek help.
Yeah.
do not imitate the methods of Jimjar by any means, please.
There is no role model.
Not at all. No. How did I? What? Sorry.
How did you end up in here then? If you're having so much fun.
Well, I heard that the last expeditionary force that went back to take back my city has been quite successful, and they started driving out all the nasty beasties and monsters that are in all of the corridors and halls, and yeah, they're making some progress. So I thought I'd head back and see what I could do. I was chatting to this guy in this tavern, and he bet me that I wouldn't have the guts to go back. So here I am, but I didn't make it, unfortunately. Well, I didn't make a bet that I couldn't make it. I was, that wasn't up for bets. But nah, I was on my way back to the city, and these bastards snapped me, didn't they? Unfortunately.
Well, how would you like to make a bet that we're all gonna get out of here alive?
All of us?
Yeah, every single one.
Not sure I like those odds. I mean, can always hope, but not sure if. So what? You're gonna bet that 5 gold back?
Yeah, I have a good feeling about this group.
Well, I hope you win. I owe you the money anyway, so.
Same here.
And you kind of chit-chatting away and keeping an eye on things. And as this goes on, Ning, you have taken your rest and you are into your second part of your sleep here. What do you dream of?
I dream of... In the darkest time, I usually dream of the happiest time of my life. And it'll be the case. I'm dreaming of when I was little, a moment where my mom was teaching me. She was a dancer. Her name was Strawberry. And she was teaching me like some movements like near a river, and we're just like dancing and laughing, and she was telling me how life could be so good if you choose to make life good, and if you choose to see things that way. And we were just laughing and playing with water and just like, skipping around and everything. She was lifting me up and saying I was the best thing ever, and just having a good time together, and we eating food and like without the father, just her and I just playing together.
And there are another couple of satyr friends of hers just lounging on a rock by the pool, dabbling their hooves in the water and playing this music. And you and your mother are skipping around, and she scooped up a bundle of flowers and like put them in your hair, and she grabbed your arms and by the hands, and she whooshed you around, lifting you up into the air, and you're just skipping around and being your best satyrs that you can be. And enjoying that scene there, laughing, and the music's going, and your mother and her friends are passing around a nice carafe of wine, nice earthenware jug.
Started drinking when I was 2.
Very, very satyr. And you, you're spinning around and enjoying this scene, and laughing together and in just reveling in the luscious nature of the Feywild and the beautiful multicolored blooms that are on the vines of the trees, and just the scent of them just filling the air, just adding to the headiness of the slight buzz from the wine that you're also getting, and laughing together. And then that heady scent of the flowers becomes richer and richer, and almost repugnant as it starts to stink of decay. And you look around worried, and you start to see the trees and the flowers and the vines, everything starts to wilt and brown, and the flowers' petals all fall to the ground, and from the trunks of the trees, fungus, mushrooms sprout here and there, everywhere, but not like the multicolored Feywild mushrooms that you know and would often go picking with your mother. Dark, twisted-looking, black, grey, ghostly white fungus that looks almost sickly. And it looks like the glade around you is lying. And as you look to your mother and her friends, they're still laughing, but it's kind of echoing strangely. And as you're spinning around, your mother's arms change. They become softer, more rubbery, and they become two tentacles, which you're still holding on to, just like scared to let go. And you're like, Mom, what's the matter? And she's just laughing and laughing, and it almost sounds like two voices are laughing. And you see her head kind of loll to one side, and a second head sprouts out of her neck, also laughing manically, wildly. And as you look past her, panicked to the friends, you see the friends are now lying still on the rocks that they had been sitting on. And those fungal growths are coming up over them, covering them. And there's a soft explosion. And spores, not unlike stools, rapport spores, just burst and fill the air. But these look much more sinister, dark, little kind of almost crystalline-looking spores. And you panic and kind of let go of your mother, and she kind of stumbles towards you with these two heads, like unbalanced almost, laughing hysterically. And you stumble back and turn and run. And as you're running, the whole forest, all of it is just decay. And these strange fungal growths everywhere. And far off in the trees, you could hear a wild, bestial roar, as you know something much worse than the drow is chasing you. And then you wake up.
Are you? Elora! I mean, I guess Elora is awake, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You alright?
That's such a nightmare. I mean, I'm not used to nightmare.
So it's only natural.
Seems like something worse is out there. I mean, I don't know, I'll just sit next to you, okay?
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry, just breathe.
I think we have to go get out of there. And sooner the better.
We'll be out of here soon, I'm sure.
And she kind of sits down beside you, Alora, and kind of rests her head, her eyes like almost, like heavily closing to sleep again, as she was not finished her rest, and she quickly falls back asleep next to you. Alora, you don't need to rest anymore, so you could stay on watch, or you could wake someone else.
Would anybody else be done their full rest?
No.
No. Okay. So then I will stay on watch for the rest of the shift then.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Jim Jar might want to get some
Jim
sleep,
Jar kind of excuses himself and goes and crashes out again.
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to watch with just the constant sound of the waterfall that you know to be nearby, just echoing down into the chamber below, and the guards moving around, and Quaggoth servants moving around carrying bits and bobs. You can observe them now and then, and the three across the way keeping a watch on you. Now, Zakan, you fall asleep. Going back in time a little bit here. What kind of dreams do you usually have down here in the Underdark? What kind of sleep awaits you?
Like, since Zakan sleeps very lightly and kind of in little bursts, since they're on their own most of the time in a pretty dangerous terrain. They don't often dream, or when they do, it's, kind of just light, abstract sort of things. But recently they've been having a sort of recurring dream that's bothering them.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
It's where they are walking along, pretty clearly, like marked path in the Underdark, like one that they've traveled quite frequently, and they come upon like just this wall of complete pitch blackness that even their usual adjusted vision can't see through, and it's rocky and dense with various life and things. And when they go into it, they just completely lose all sense of where they are, and it becomes more and more tangled and more dark, until they just can't feel or see or hear anything, and have no sense of where they are. And it always just ends there.
A loss of guidance, you might say?
You might say, yeah.
As you uncomfortably settle down and find a spot that hurts the least, sleep takes you. However, warily you approach it. And again, as so many nights before, you do find yourself walking down that dark cavern and reaching that same space. Tangled darkness closing in around you, becoming impossible to navigate. But tonight, there's a small difference. Just as that claustrophobic darkness is closing in, threatening to consume all of your senses, all of your direction, as has happened so many times before, far away, there's the smallest glimmer of light. What do you do?
Zakan struggles through that sort of sluggishness and that feeling of being trapped and entangled, and heads towards that pinpoint of light.
Okay. So you're kind of clambering over obstacles that you can't see in the darkness, despite how usually you can see fine, and trying to force your way through this ensnaring, entangling barrier, this thicket of just, entrapment here, keeping you locked and away in the darkness, just forcing your way through towards this speck of light. And it grows. And it grows until, surrounded by strange, almost vine-like surfaces and jagged rock, almost like a small broken cave entrance. Beyond, you see daylight. Do you force your way towards it?
Yes, I think grabs any bits of rock and things and is scrabbling and digging and pulling themselves through.
Okay. So you reach out, one hand and then the other, to the outskirts of this, and you pull your way through. And as you emerge from this jagged cave mouth, a cold wind, a natural surface wind, catches you in the side of the face and gets in under the mask, and you feel the open air around you as you haven't felt for so long. And as you emerge from this, as you look around and realize mountainside, you see a scenery, a landscape that you had thought lost, you hadn't seen for years and years. And you look up, knowing, hoping what's going to be there. And as you had wished, looking up, you see an inverted landscape hanging in the sky above you, the mountain peaks reaching down towards you like monstrous stalactites. And you see down the valley certain spots where the mountains actually meet in the middle, rising up from your valley and then down from above and actually joining in the middle, as you see vast forest stretching down the valley and raging rivers and wild clouds whipping through the air in between these two layers of what you know to be Bytopia. A place that you thought you would never see again. The home of your guide. The home of Tidra, the angel who is your connection with the celestial realms. And as you stumble, disbelieving, gleeful almost, down the side of this mountain, skidding a little down the scree slope and the loose rock that's under your feet, you feel yourself picked up by that wind as it comes whooshing down the valley once more. And you know from past experience just to let yourself go with it. And it picks you up into the air. And as you're being swept along the valley by this refreshing mountain breeze, this wind howling along between the layers of Bytopia, you see the mountains recede down to a coastline, and you see the ocean, the vast ocean of Bytopia, and what you've been hoping, what you've been dreaming to see for so long, that forested isle, just with the waves lapping around it, and the opening into the trees from the stone pebble beach, and the wind rushes you across the waves, and there's a trumpeting sound as you see 4 Holophants come swooping in on their golden feathered wings, playfully spinning around you and almost welcoming you back. Not that you would know them, all by name or anything. And you just remember all of your contacts here, all the friends that you've made here on your visits long, long ago. And as the wind brings you and sets you down gently on that pebble beach, you see that tunnel of the twisted branches and boughs through, and you see the dark green illuminated light of the grove that lies in the middle of the forest that you know to be there. And as you walk, you start to jog, and then into a run, and you go rushing through the trees. Think, in Totoro when they're chasing behind Boo through that tunnel. And you're going down through this tunnel of trees, the boughs all arching up above you, and just illuminated by this otherworldly green light as the light suffusing Bytopia makes its way through all the leaves and greenery. And as you emerge out into the clearing, you see that beautiful structure, the elegant columns and carved buttresses flying up to the beautifully tiled roof, open to the elements on all sides. And inside, seated on a cushioned bench, you see a woman. Large white wings, feathers with golden tips. Very similar, should I say, exactly similar to those ones in your headdress. Seated within, drinking tea from a delicate porcelain cup. As you get to the edge of the tunnel into the grove, what do you do?
Just kind of down and falter for a second, they're just on their knees looking at it, and after a moment sort of collect themselves and stand up and go towards the figure sitting and waiting.
The sound of your footsteps. The figure glances round and you see the long, tumbled blonde hair of Tidra. And there's a clatter as the teacup is dropped, forgotten. And she bounds to her feet and half jumps down the steps, half flaps her wings and takes a semi-glide across the short space between you. And she reaches out her arms to you, her hands to yours. Zakan, I'm so sorry. It's been, what, more than 20 years?
Yes, it is. In some time.
They had me. They had me trapped. Down in the 9 hells. But... she beams. My sons. I have sons. My sons came together, even though they had not known each other. And they saved me. And now I'm back. And you are the one that is trapped.
I've been doing as you asked, as we have always done. I'm ready for whatever it is that you would have me do.
I witnessed a great many evils in the hells. But that is not the only place. There is another equally threatening evil awakening in the abyss, breaking through into the Underdark and threatening all of the above, all of the surface world. And if they are successful, all of the planes, even here, and the power they have, it will unsettle the balance of the Blood War. The hells will not be able to keep them back, and it shall be an exponential rise, or should I say, an exponential fall into chaos, madness. Stay there. Stay with these people you have met, that you have been thrown together with. It is not for nothing. You remembered what I used to say. You, all of you, you are fated ones. You are supposed to be together. You are what's needed. You are what can stop this. There is a chance. It is slim, but there is a chance that we can stop this madness.
I am, as I have always been, your humblest of servants. Just tell me where, and I will continue to act as your light. I think, bow their head and take off their mask to, address them directly, and the audience does not get to see it, but
from behind.
To have a face-to-face contact.
And she reaches down, and her hand is illuminated by the glow from your body, and she just puts her hand on the side of your face. I know you will do the right thing. All of you will do the right thing. And you will stop this menace from emerging out of the abyss. Fade to credits. Sorry, that was just too perfect. Okay. So, dear viewers, dear players, after an eventful evening, both conscious and unconscious, we have another possibility. And tomorrow may bring another chance for you to escape. And we shall see what happens when we come back to the Underdark next week. So, a huge thank you to everyone for coming by, both here and over on Carney's Side Show. Thank you so much. And
Thank you,
I
DM.
cannot wait.
Of course.
Cannot wait to continue and see if you are able to escape in one piece.
I still
Will-
says that went by too fast.
Yeah, so yes, will Elora win her bet?
yeah.
Is hoping.
I hope so.
Yes.
We all have
And-
to get out alive, so.
I love Alora
Against your
is
path.
like, drake meme to the super noble prince guy is like, nah, but then the super sketchy gamble guy is like, this is a good friend.
That's the one.
This is the kind of company I like.
Yeah.
So thanks for sticking around, and yes, do join us again later today for me, tomorrow morning for North America, as we enter into Barovia for Curse of Strahd. Then tomorrow we shall be going into Avernus to meet one of Tidra's sons as we continue our descent into Avernus. Then on Saturday, Chris?
Yes, back to our regular weekly campaign on Saturday.
Oh, it's been a while. Been a while.
Now they're in another place.
Another place. Okay, don't miss it. Head over to Carney Sideshow and give them a follow if you haven't already, and see what is going on over there. And then next Tuesday, we missed a session this week thanks to the Emperor's birthday. And unfortunately, but I am looking forward to getting back to Icewind Dale to continue Rime of the Frost Maiden next Tuesday. So do join us for as much of that goodness as you can, and we shall see you next time. As we say around these parts, sayonara. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. See you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yoroshiku.